I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Pixel 9 Pro XL has definitely skyrocketed to my favorite phone. And I never thought I would say this. If you guys know me, you know that I'm not really a big fan of Pixel phones. They're alright, but they were never really good for me. And after I did my reviews, I always just sold them off. But with this phone, no, I'm not selling this phone. Oh, and by the way, no one is sponsoring this video. I'm not a part of Team Pixel. I am a part of Team My Wallet. I bought this phone with my own money, so these are my honest thoughts. I've been using the Pixel 9 Pro XL for around 4 days now, and I took it on my weekend trip to the mountains where I took a bunch of photos that were both real and fake, thanks to Google's new Magic Editor, which is seriously scary good. I also took a bunch of videos as well, and I'm very impressed with the video quality coming out of this phone. Google honestly nailed it. So there's a few key things I want to talk about with using this phone on a daily basis, and I mean actually using it. I don't want to talk about specs because, well, most of the time specs don't really mean all that much. You just want to know how this phone works, and well, I'm here to tell you that. So let's start with some upgrades. First up is the screen. So Google has upgraded the actual display to be much more brighter than before, and it shows. I mean, you have 3000 nits of peak brightness, so you won't have any issues viewing the screen outside on a bright sunny day. In fact, the screen is so bright I can easily see it even when I have my very dark sunglasses on and with the sun right overhead. Long story short, no matter the content you're watching, no matter the scenario you're watching the content in, it's going to look fantastic, but that's not all. The actual efficiency of this screen is better than before, which also means better battery life, and well, we'll get into that shortly. Now, another key improvement that I want to talk about is overheating. This is the first Pixel device that I reviewed, and I reviewed all of them from the Pixel 3a. That did not overheat. Every single one of them overheated on me, whether I was, outside recording, it's pretty hot right now. I'd be recording, taking a bunch of 4K 60 videos, a bunch of photos, obviously 5G use, high brightness. All of them overheated, and not this one. And that's, of course, to no surprise. It's using the new vapor chamber that Google finally added to their phones, and voila, it actually does the job. Just like I mentioned earlier, I went to the mountains and it was incredibly hot and humid outside, close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and I was recording 4K 60 video like nothing. Usually in previous Pixel models, if the phone overheats, the video recording stops, which means you could potentially lose out on recording memories with your friends or family. But you should know the back of the phone does get hot, but that's good, that's a good thing. That means the vapor chamber is doing its job of removing that heat from the Tensor CPU and putting it toward the back of the phone where it can dissipate into the environment around you, which is obviously why, the hotter it is outside, the more trouble your phone has to cool itself off, which is where the vapor chamber comes in. So it's a good thing that the back of the phone gets hot. That's good. That means it's working properly. But that also means that you guys gotta be careful of what case you put on your phone. If it's a very thick case, then the heat from the phone will just get trapped in the case and then it'll just start cooking your phone. So do be careful which case you use on your Pixel. Okay, so what about the cameras? I am incredibly impressed, but also a bit disappointed. The photo quality itself is amazing. Yes, the main camera didn't get any hardware changes, but the Tensor G4 still improves quality due to a newer image signal processor. Photos look amazing with Pixel's crazy good HDR, as well as keeping, the photo more lifelike by not over sharpening. Now, what did change hardware-wise is the new ultra-wide camera. It is still 48 megapixel like last year's, but the sensor itself got larger, which of course lets in more light and therefore gives a better detail in low light. It went from f2.0 to f1.7, which is pretty darn impressive, and the telephoto camera might just be my favorite telephoto camera on a smartphone with incredibly good and again, not much over sharpening photos at all. In terms of super high zoom range, I still think the S24 Ultra is the king, but when it comes to just 5 times telephoto, maybe even up to 10 times digital, the Pixel is really, really impressive. As far as video recording goes, it is very steady with great stabilization, great HDR, but zooming in and out is still a little bit janky. It's definitely not as smooth as, the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I really do hope, software update can fix that. Now, the thing I'm not really a fan of when it comes to the cameras is the portrait mode. Google, what are you doing? I proposed to my girlfriend over the weekend and decided to take a portrait mode photo of her hand. I wanted the hand to be in focus and then the background to be a bit blurry to put more emphasis on the fact that, well, she's now my fiance. And as you can see, it did a pretty terrible job, like actually horrible. The cutouts are completely off and there's this weird artifacting around the fingers. This is one of those times where I wish I had my iPhone or my Samsung with me because those phones would have easily nailed that shot. That's a very, very easy shot to do. Again, I really hope Google fixes this in a software update, and if they do, I will definitely make an update video to let you guys know. So what about the battery life? Well, that's another thing where Pixel phones never really shined the best, right? But this time around, again, thanks to that G4, the Pixel Tensor G4, and the vapor chamber that helps keep the phone cool. Remember, guys, the hotter your phone is, the worse battery life you're going to get. That's just, I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to say that's like physics, but I don't know. Is that physics? Let me know down below. But thanks to those two changes, the battery life on this is really good. I'm averaging around 7 hours, sometimes more, on a lighter day. So 7 hours of screen on time. That is pretty darn good. That's more than I'm getting on my iPhone 15 Pro Max. But do keep in mind, I don't normally use my phone that way. So what do I mean by that? Well, when I'm during the review period, I only charge the phone once at night, right? Then I wake up and then I don't put it back to charge so I can give you guys the honest numbers. But in my normal day-to-day life, I have a charger in my car, which I plug in my phones in all the time as if I'm driving somewhere, even if it's like 5-minute charge, why not? I also have a charger right next to my desk on my office table that I put the phone on whenever I'm on the computer editing videos or doing whatever. So that being said, it's really hard for me to actually kill a phone's battery in normal day-to-day circumstances. Now, during the review period, of course I kill a phone because that's kind of my job. I need to know what the screen on time is so I can give you guys the numbers. But in normal day-to-day life, if you have a charger in your car, if you have a wireless charger, at work, on your desk, you literally will not have any issues with the battery life coming out of this Pixel. It is really good. I've also been having fun with Google's new Magic Editor, which is actually kind of scary. So, for example, this is a photo I took while I was at the mountains. Well, actually, I lied. This is the photo I took. Okay, in all seriousness, here's another photo I took while I was at the beach. Well, actually, I lied again. This is the original photo. Google's new Magic Editor can fool a lot of people because it actually fooled everyone in my family. Every single person in my family believed that those were the photos I took, even though it's like one of those things. It's like, I went to the mountains here in North Carolina. Obviously, they don't look like this, okay? So, but they still believed it for like for a couple seconds, and then they're like, wait a minute, we don't have mountains like that. But if I made them a little bit more realistic, maybe if I put, mountains with, grassy hills, it would have made it a lot more believable. So that goes to show that the future is kind of wild. Like, yeah, you could have easily fooled anyone using Photoshop, but first of all, Photoshop is paid for. Not everyone wants to pay for Photoshop. And the second thing is, you actually have to know how to use Photoshop to be, to make a photo look that realistic, right? Whereas with the Google Pixel, you just tap on the area you want to edit, you put the prompt in, you wait 5 seconds, and that's it. You're good to go. There's not even like a little AI label on the bottom of the corner of the photo, which doesn't really matter because you can actually use AI to get rid of the AI label. Funny. The Pixel 9 Pro XL experience has been nothing but fantastic, and the UI is very smooth and responsive, but that's not really a surprise. Aside from the poor portrait mode photos, I can't really find something that I don't like about the phone. Now, if you have the Pixel 9 series, definitely let me know your opinions and thoughts down below. How's your user experience been? Hopefully it's been good, but if it hasn't, again, drop me a comments down below. I'm always curious, And that's it. I have my Pixel 9 Pro coming in this weekend, and then my Pixel 9 Pro Fold coming in next week. So if you guys want to see videos on that, comparison videos, definitely subscribe if you haven't already. And again, if you guys did enjoy today's video, click that like button. And that's it. This was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.